Hello, I'm Jane Goldman. I've always been fascinated by psychic phenomena and the paranormal, and I am open-minded, but I'm also one of those kind of people who has a hard time believing in things if I haven't seen them for myself. So that's why I decided to take a very hands-on approach to my investigations into the paranormal. I've asked the experts whether they can teach me 10 different skills, and I've got just a month to learn each one. At the end of the 4 weeks, I'm going to be tested. What have I let myself in for? Tonight, I'm investigating possibly the most intriguing paranormal skill of all, talking to the dead. Have you ever felt you weren't alone, but couldn't explain why? Some people believe that there are others all around us all the time. Dead people, watching over us, trying to communicate with us, if only we'd let them. The idea is that if we open up our minds enough, if we tune in our brains to a different frequency, a bit like tuning in a radio, some people say we can receive messages from the spirit world to relay to the world of the living. But can you really communicate with the dead? That's what I'm hoping to find out. First stop on my journey is, curiously enough, a theatre where I was due to meet my tutor, Steve Lamont, and see him in action in front of a live audience. After 10 years of facing his public, is he as calm as he looks?
You think I look calm, laid back, but actually inside I'm exploding. It's like you're feeling. Before you do this sort of work, your nerves, you build up this nervous energy.
Right.
It's when you haven't got that, it's when it's not working.
Really?
If you know you've got this nervous energy building up inside, you know that something's going to happen. And you can feel sort of people drawing close as well, as this is, yeah.
So it's not just, we're not talking about performance anxiety, we're talking about the kind of psychic energy.
The psychic energy, the spiritual energy, it's all sort of combined.
You have a good feeling about tonight. Can you sometimes tell how an evening's going to go?
I never know a thing. And I don't know who I've got coming through until I'm actually up there on the stage, until I've got the first person coming through. So you never know what's going to happen, if it's going to work, who you're going to come to, you don't know a thing. Thank you. Well, if I come to you, if you could please speak up, yes or no, don't understand, but don't give me any information at all, just yes or no. If you could send your love up to those in spirit you know, because that's what brings them close. Give me a couple of seconds and I'll see who I've got. Right, I've got a young gentleman linking into me here. Brown hair. Okay, come on. And I'm sensing with him that he passed very suddenly. I do feel he's passing around the age of the mid-20s. And I've got a feeling this is a road accident. This would be a very close, like a family link. Yes, family link, okay. Right. He was a very much loved boy. And to you, this is quite emotional.
It's my son.
Right, okay, yes, very, very close to you. He just wanted to throw his arms around you as I'm linking in. He really Did he do that quite a lot? Because he's a sort of boy, very huggy, very feely sort of person, very sensitive boy. Why am I suddenly feeling a whack in the head?
I was in a car accident.
Yeah, because I'm feeling suddenly like my head is going forwards very quickly.
Yeah.
They make me feel these things a lot of the time. Okay, right. Oh, right. This little dog just came running in there. Do you understand of a black and brown dog? Not yours. Who's that? He said one of his friends had a black and brown dog. The name of Paul, a friend of his. Yeah, okay. He just wants to thank you for all you've done. You've been a very strong person, but you have been able to sort of really sort of help those around. And he said he wants to thank you for that. He said you really have got a gift there. And he said he wants to leave you there, but a lot of love to you, obviously, from him. And have you got an interest in gardening or something?
A gardening book?
Yeah, he wants to give you a book on gardening.
I like gardening.
Okay, but have you read a book recently on gardening or something?
I bought one recently.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
All right, okay, we'll take that anyway.
Wow, that sounded pretty specific. Loving son in his 20s, a car accident. What are the odds of arriving at that by chance or guesswork? I've no idea, but it's all very impressive and very moving.
Well, I've got an elderly lady drawing in close now. God, as I did that, I nearly fell over. I started feeling very dizzy with her. I feel she started to lose her balance a lot. I've got links to Ireland as well with this person. This lady's going back quite a way. Does anyone understand with links to Ireland at all around here? Would you understand grandmother when I describe this lady?
Mother?
Sorry? Can you speak up so I can't hear?
Mother.
Mother. I don't know if I've got mother here, but no. let me just get some more information, then we'll see where we're going. Okay. She's talking about someone who lost a lot of weight in the family who passed. Not her. I'm going with a gentleman with that there because I've got someone else.
Husband.
And that would have been someone who would have passed with a cancerous condition.
Yeah. Husband.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Would he have worn a hat?
Cap.
Yeah. Because I've got to put a hat on my head. He never went out without a hat. Does that make sense?
Don't be granddad.
Okay.
Yes.
He really did suffer for quite a few years, didn't he?
No.
Did she suffer for quite a few years? Because I've got someone who's... Sorry, I'm getting...
Yeah, she
I've got them
did.
both
She
talking to me at
did.
the same time. It's very disorientating for me.
She
Did they
did.
sort of... Would they be sort of people who would have sort of like tried to butt in?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because that's what I'm getting. I've got sort of like one butting and another one's saying something, so I'm sort of getting muddled
Mother
up.
would.
And they laugh about that.
Yes.
It made a few arguments in the family at times. It always made an argument, like, don't you do that, but that always happened. But, right, OK. Who's got
There
the problems
doesn't
with the
seem to be
knees?
any doubt in
I'm
this
not taking
woman's
that away
mind.
because,
Some might say that men of a certain generation would have worn caps, as a matter of course.
Would
Don't
it be
all
sort of
couples
like
long
British
married
people?
indulge in a bit of playful
And
argy-bargy?
they both... He just took his hat off to you, and they just want to give you all their love. And thank you for taking them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Finish
you.
there, Barry. Thank you.
Well, the three generations of that family seem convinced. But was it something in particular?
We're actually registered at first.
And I thought, my gosh, it's Granny Pittman, it's Great-Granny Pittman, and Great-Grandfather Pittman. They've come over, small, hard-working, which they both were.
Fitted.
And I'm thinking, hang on, this is them. This is, and it's just really spooky to feel that they've actually come in, from outside and wanted to connect with me and my daughter.
There wasn't anything that didn't fit there.
No, the whole, even the cap, down to the cap, which he always used to wear on his head to go down to the pie.
But what of the mother whose son had died in a tragic car accident and who'd never been to anything like this before?
Was part of you hoping you might have something come through?
Yeah.
Yeah? And so how did you feel when it started sort of fitting?
Well, I think it was the third sentence. I sort of thought, I know who this is.
Right, I've got a young gentleman linking into me here. Brown hair.
How did it make you feel?
I'm a bit panicky, really, but the things he said were very true.
He was a very much loved boy, and to you, this is quite emotional.
Like the big hug and the smile.
Aww.
And that was just, my son, really.
Then the most bizarre thing happened. The next medium on stage seemed to be describing my grandmother. And I felt I had no choice but to own up and claim her.
You had great ideas. Do you understand that? Yeah.
These two mediums are somehow working together, both apparently able to link into the same spirit wavelength through different spirit guides and receive the information in different ways. A sort of psychic double act.
Something very striking about her hair as well, but she was also a beautiful lady. She talked beautifully. She spoke beautifully. She's giving me a slap wrist. I'm not getting it right here. She spoke beautifully, and manners. She was very, very hot on manners and please and thank yous, but she was very, very...
I couldn't help but wonder how many other people could have also applied this description to their grandmother.
Okay, she says, I've got to give you April as a birthday month. I've got to give you April. I've also got to give you February as a month.
That's my mum and dad's.
Right, okay, fine. Just go away and have a good time. Because she says that you're working very hard and you need to actually sort of chill out a little bit, okay? And she says, I'll be with you. And it's going to be somewhere nice and warm, she says. So
How spookily accurate. But then again, holiday in the sun, it's summer, probably a safe bet. What about that painting though? Does it look anything like my grandmother? She was a bit prettier than that. There's definitely a feeling of her there. Definitely. Yeah.
God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you didn't expect that, Jane. You didn't get the message.
I was really. I kept thinking, well, that sounds right. And when she started, and then looking around, thinking it must be someone else. And I just had such a weird feeling in my stomach. I thought, God,
Yeah, because you'd pick that up yourself as
really?
well. Yeah.
I've got to say, I
They'll be
felt
close,
really
drawing
weird.
close to you, yeah.
I felt really, really weird, and
And it's
that's why I
quite
thought I should speak.
nerve-wracking,
And I was terrified. Yeah. But you were great, by the way.
Was it okay, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
You
I've
just
never.
you just give what comes to you, so I mean, it's...
Right. Yeah.
And then obviously with the last one, I got about 2 or 3 people talking to me all at the same time. And I said, come on, right, just calm down, but you'd like one at a time.
That is such a odd experience. I'm still not quite sure what to make of it. I don't know, maybe it's just in my nature to question things endlessly. But it so fitted. And now, of course, I feel really guilty questioning it. If there's a possibility that was my grandma. God, what an awful thing. That I'm still sitting here questioning whether it really happened. So now I feel guilty and confused and conflicted and all of that. And
I can see why people would want to give and receive messages of comfort from loved ones who've passed over. But it occurred to me that there's a whole other, much darker side to hearing voices in your head. There are a number of serial murder cases where the defence was that they heard voices of spirits telling them to commit their crimes. I've always assumed that was a sort of, insanity plea, or that they were actually, mentally unwell. But if I'm going to suddenly be taking on board the fact that mediumship exists, do I have to then take on board that those serial murderers were actually hearing messages from evil dead people, and that's true as well? So here on the one hand, if we're to take it on board, we've got this very lovely, comforting thing that we'd all like to believe. And on the other hand, we've got the idea that if this is real, there are people who are after power or who are unstable and uncompassionate and all those things, also being guided by dead people. Do I want to believe this? It's been quite a depressing morning, actually. The idea of receiving messages from the dead has been around since before Roman Caesars were worrying about the Ides of March. The ancient Greeks turned to living oracles housed in temples for advice on everything from when to go into battle to where to plant the next crop. But just as some people have looked to the dead for messages of comfort, others have used information apparently from beyond the grave to further their own evil ends. Both Hitler and Himmler consulted psychics and used the supernatural advice as encouragement in their pursuit of Aryan destiny. After the break, my first attempt at talking to the dead.